How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and we're going to be talking about GME and AMC. We know Monday is coming tomorrow, and I want to make sure that you guys have a game plan and you know the areas and price targets that you need to be aware of, especially if you're trying to make some short-term gains or you want to be a part of the movement but not be left holding a bag or dealing with a bunch of volatility. But you know, volatility does come with this stock as well, so please consider that. So we're going to be doing the technical analysis, and then afterwards I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts so you'll be prepared for Monday when it comes. All right, so we're going to be doing the technical analysis on GME. So one of the things that we want to look out for are support levels. The reason why we want to know what the support levels are, because this will give us the opportunity to make sure that we're getting in at good entry points. All right. So we could see here from after hours on Thursday, the low is around $126. Now going into the pre-market on the Friday, we could see that there's a solid support level here going all the way from 128. It's 127.9, but let's just call that 128. It didn't end up breaking the support level until we get near into the open, as you can see here, around 910. Literally coming close to literally just touching on the 200-day simple moving average. But take a look at what happens. We end up going right into the open, just ripping up all the way to the upside, reaching $151.53. Didn't spend too much time up there, so what we're going to look at and what we call it as, we could just say it's 150. So this would have been a great opportunity all the way from 128 to 150. And knowing that this is GME, we're getting used to seeing moves like that. But of course, for the rest of the entire day, it didn't end up passing. But that's okay, because what we want to see is what was the next resistant level afterwards, moving forward, right? So we can see right here, starting from 1055, the next one was around 146, and we didn't end up passing 146 for the rest of the day. Now, let's take a look as the day progresses. We see there's another one here around 144, right? We look at that. That's from 1135. It looks like it passed it a little bit, not for too long now, and then just ended up closing the day not going past that either. So we see that's a resistance area. So we have a resistance area at 144. We see we have a resistance area at 146 and another resistance area here right at 150. So these particular areas, when we do get past them, we're looking for a big move. And what I mean by a big move, around 3 to 4, close to $5, and that continuing along, going with a lot of buying pressure, more volume, and so forth. So what we need to take a look at now are some of the support levels. So we could see right here, and the reason why I'm taking this one into consideration, because it really stands out. Yes, it ended up breaking, but again, these moves don't last that long, right? So we could see right here around 135.97, and we're just going to call that 136. There's some solid support here, because we could see from 12:35 p.m. going all the way almost into the close, it did a fairly good job actually respecting the support area. We can also see that it was a resistance area for a little bit in the early parts of the day. Now, what we see in after hours ends up finishing at 138.28. So taking this into consideration, what I'm looking for on the Monday is definitely a gap up into the 140s and seeing GME hold down that 140 as a support area, building that as a support area and so forth. Now what we need to look at, what would be the next level or the next price move? We want to look for 142. Then we want to look for 144, 146, 150, and then moving up into 155 and 160. Why? Because we're using those previous resistance areas, because once we know it passes it, we're going to have another sharp move going up. That's why we're doing that. Also, what I want to show you guys now, if you're thinking about a position and you want to get in at the cheapest, as you can see by the indicators, if it ends up touching literally right on this 200 day, that might be a great place for entry. But do keep in mind, if it ends up breaking this particular area, then you got to make sure you have the right risk management in place and knowing what is a good place for you if you decide to exit the trade. Another thing that I love using is the 21 day. And then I also have a very, very lax stop loss in regards to, I know GME is going to be testing it and it breaks trend here and there, but for the most part, it does a fairly good job staying on it. So let's take a look at this. We can just follow along here. It breaks the trend, comes back up, right? Moving along. Look at this. Testing it. Breaks it a little bit. Testing it. But now, what I want to show you guys and why I love using the 21-day EMA for GME, let's take a look at the 1 month, 1 hour chart. So as we can see here, from February to 24th, this is, we already know, just to remind you guys, this is the 21-day EMA right here. So it's literally on an uptrend, riding all the way up, right? Breaks it a little bit, comes right back. We can see all the way up to the February to 25th. We already know what was going down in the market. Ended up breaking the trend, but recovering very, very quickly, coming back. And now take a look at this. Breaking it, coming back. And look at this. Look what we're seeing right now. Doing a phenomenal job staying on trend. Look at that. We're having some breaks here and there, but look at that. Literally staying and finishing at 138.28, and we have the 21-day EMA at 134.54. So what this means, if it goes down to 130.54, we're looking for it to test that support area and then make a move to the upside. If it ends up breaking through, then we got to pay attention to the SMA 50. If it touches, because it has touched the SMA 50 and it's recovered when touching it as well. You can see it over here. And this is part of the reason why I use these indicators. I don't just use them to make them for fancy or to make it look good or to make myself seem smart or anything, but I use it so I make the right trades. All right, so we're going to be doing the technical analysis for AMC. One of the things we want to pay attention to as far as what happened on Thursday and after hours, ended up closing, as you can see, right down into the $7.60 area. And as we could see right here, that this particular area, we know that AMC is going to bounce back. So even if you would have bought here early into the pre-market, you really couldn't have gone wrong. And we also see there is a gap up right here going to 780. One of the things that I love seeing, look how well AMC does a pretty decent job in the pre-market riding along on that 21-day EMA. It was under it for a bit, but did a great job all the way from 520 going in to around 830, just doing a great job staying on the uptrend. Ended up breaking the trend, of course, but then we have here what's going on, makes a strong move. So why do we cover these things? Why does this even matter, Dre? Like, why are we using these indicators? So the reason why we're using them, if you ever see a particular stock touch right on that 21 day, we're looking for a bounce up. We're looking for it to continue the trend. And that's part of the reasons why these indicators come in valuable. I just wanted to throw that in because some people will say, well, why do you do this? These indicators, like these lines, you know, things change. Like at the end of the day, you don't want to go in without a plan. And these indicators help solidify a plan. But anyways, so as we go in further now, we can see right here, we have a strong move and end up getting to around $8.22, which is fairly impressive in the sense of, hey, you know what? Considering how it was on the Friday, considering how it was even on the week, we won't like to see moves like this from AMC. But what ends up happening, we end up having a strong sell-off in the morning, getting down to a low of around $7.65. But what's very interesting about this particular area, we already know there's some support there, right? We've seen this previously. So anyone who wanted to probably do a short-term trade and so forth, then this would have been a great area to add, right? Even if we take a look at the RSI down here, it's at 29, right? So what ends up happening, we have a strong move to the upside. But of course, that doesn't come as easy or as smoothly as we would expect. But at the same time, it's something where, you know, you got to get used to with stocks like these, right? Because they are volatile. So we can see here there's a support level around $7.70, which we held down from 11.05, going almost close to around 11.45. And one thing I love seeing are support levels increasing. So we had a support level here, right at 7.65. Then we have another one here at 770. We end up having this strong move where we meet some resistance in these particular areas of $8.10. You can see that was a resistance area for quite some time, all the way from 12:30, leading all the way up to 3 o'clock. So now we end up breaking that because why? The market actually ended up recovering very well in the afternoon and going into the end of the day. So what ends up happening when we break these levels, if you guys been watching long enough, we're going to have a strong move to the upside because we've passed a former resistance level. So we end up getting all the way up to here, up to $8.20. And of course, we go into the close and we have people selling and so forth, day traders exiting their positions. But one thing we need to look at, again, in the market, there were a lot of stocks that really ran up into close. So we have this strong move, as you can see, touched right on the 21-day EMA and made a strong move to $8.28, which is literally almost revisiting the high that we saw early in the morning. But of course, we end up having a sell-off here and end up coming down to this area here of $8.07. So what we need to look for are support and resistance. So we saw here in the pre-market that 810 area was a resistance area after that initial pop, right? Never seemed to really get past that. And now ends up finishing literally on, just as taking after hours into consideration, at $7.97. So what I'm looking for next week is making sure we have some solid support area right at, let's call that $7.96 between to $8. That's where we're looking to really see some solid support from AMC, especially if it looks bullish in regards to the overall market come on Monday. I want to see that. Now, what we do know for a fact though, that support area around 770, we want to see AMC hold that. If we don't see that, then we want to make sure it's holding down 760 very well, right? So these are the areas that you really need to look out for, right? Especially if you're looking at this as a short term, or you're doing a swing, or even if you want to be a part of the movement and buy and hold and so forth, at least you know you're going to be getting a decent cost average and you're not bag holding. But I am bullish on AMC, and I do believe, and I still hold my stance, that AMC will be above $10, because if we take into consideration theaters opening up, the economy changing, all that stuff, AMC is worth at least $10 in my opinion. So for my final thoughts, as far as for AMC and GME, I'm still looking for some more upside come next week, and I believe that we are going to be seeing it. We've already known that the market has pulled back quite a bit, but GME has actually done well and has been weathering the storm, I must say. So for tomorrow, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some moves from GME to the upside. I already gave you guys the support areas, some resistance areas, and what you need to look for. So if you're looking at some swing trade or short-term opportunities, please consider watching that video, because it will help you out, because it's helped out a lot of other traders throughout that entire week of last week and before that, especially when it had the big time run up, when it was literally trading in the 45s to 50 areas. As far as AMC, you guys already know. I believe that AMC is worth at least $10. It should be over $10, especially if we look at what's going to be happening in the economy post-pandemic. People miss going to the movie theaters. And when they start going back, this is the perfect opportunity for AMC to make some serious moves. We also see how they've rewarded management, right? Through bonuses and so forth. So we know there's some cash, there's some money available. So we already know, taking all of that into consideration, we've also seen all the institutional buys, right? We're seeing a lot of big firms putting in money into AMC and believing that it has upside as well. So that kind of concludes how I feel about AMC. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what AMC does for the week coming ahead, which is tomorrow, Monday. So I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend, and we'll be talking soon.